Today, we're cracking open a book from 1927 that, honestly, tried to rewrite the rules of reality itself. It's called The Universal One by Walter Russell, and it's this wild blend of science and, well, metaphysics. It was a super controversial vision of the cosmos back in its day. Now, it's a dense read, for sure, but the ideas at its heart, that's what we're going to explore.
Right from the get-go, the publisher knew this book was a huge gamble. I mean, this quote from the original preface, it just sets the stage perfectly. They knew they weren't just selling a book, they were backing a fantastic dreamer. His ideas were so out there, they basically came with a disclaimer. It frames the whole thing as a message meant for a future audience, for tomorrow.
And yeah, that focus on the future was definitely necessary. When the Universal One first came out, it got way more criticism than praise. Let's be real, the scientific community just wasn't ready for a book that was mixing physics with concepts like a universal mind. But Russell and his publisher, they pushed on, convinced that even if the message was rejected today, it would find its people tomorrow. So right away, you've got this classic story, the lone visionary up against the establishment.
So what was this big idea that caused all the fuss? Well, it all boils down to the foundational principle of his entire worldview, something he simply called the Universal One.
Okay, so this is where Russell's work just completely flips our normal view of reality on its head. He says, look, the universe isn't made of billions of different things. Stars, rocks, people. Nope, it's all just one single, formless, thinking substance, a universal mind. Everything we see, everything we touch, is just a temporary expression of this one single, conscious reality.
And if you really follow that idea, the implications are absolutely staggering. I mean, if everything is just one substance, then the space between you and me, the idea that you're separate from the chair you're sitting on, it's all an illusion. Individuality, dimension, separation, none of it is fundamentally real. As Russell says, everything that is of everything else that is. We are, quite literally, one.
To make this easier to grasp, Russell uses this really great analogy. Picture bubbles swirling around in water. They have a clear form, right? A shape. They look like separate things, but what are they really? Just water in motion. The second that motion stops, the bubble is gone, but the substance, the water, is still there. For Russell, we are those bubbles. You, me, the planets, the stars, we're all just temporary forms created by motion in the one great substance of mind.
Okay, so if the universe is one thinking substance, how does anything actually, happen? How do you get form out of formlessness? This is where Russell talks about the engine of creation itself.
For Russell, the force that drives the whole show is thinking. But, and this is a big but, he doesn't mean it like we do, like a biological process inside our heads. For him, thinking is the fundamental mechanical force of the universe. It's the action that causes all motion. The entire cosmos, from a galaxy down to a single thought, is just the universal mind thinking an idea into a temporary form.
And this process of thinking works like a cosmic pulse, a dance between two huge opposing forces. On one side, you have electricity. That's the generative, life-giving force that pulls inward and builds things up. On the other side, you have magnetism, its total opposite. That's the radiative, expansive force that pushes outward and dissolves form. The entire rhythm of the universe is just a constant back and forth between these two.
The law that governs this cosmic dance is what Russell calls the sex principle. Now, before you jump to conclusions, this isn't about biology. For him, it's a universal law of balance. It's the principle that describes the rhythmic exchange between the building up force of electricity and the breaking down force of magnetism. This constant push and pull, this seeking of union and balance, is what drives all motion and all creation.
This quote just nails the whole idea. See, the universe isn't some static thing that was created once and that's it. It's a constant, rhythmic cycle. It's like a giant pendulum swinging from a state of total rest or inertia out into the expression of energy and form, and then swinging right back again. Generation and radiation, life and death, appearing and disappearing. It's a cycle that just goes on and on forever.
So, we have a single thinking substance and a cosmic engine that gives it form. But is the engine just winging it? Or is there a plan? Is there a blueprint for the material world? So, forget what you learned in chemistry class for a second. In Russell's view, elements like gold or oxygen or carbon, they aren't fundamentally different things. They are all the one substance, just in different states of motion. Think of them like musical notes on a huge cosmic scale.
What makes gold gold isn't what it's made of, but the specific rhythm and pressure of its unique motion.
And Russell organizes this whole cosmic scale into a cycle of 10 octaves. It starts in the first 4 octaves. He calls this the unseen universe, where matter's just starting to come together. The whole cycle hits its peak in the 5th octave, at carbon. That's the point of maximum stability, maximum integration. After carbon, the journey reverses. In octaves 6 through 10, matter starts getting more and more radiative, basically dissolving back toward that state of rest. And the guides for this whole process? The inert gases. He calls them master tones, and they act like the silent record keepers for each stage of the cycle.
You can really see this cycle of creation and dissolution when you look at the elements themselves. Take an element like hydrogen. It's on the generative upswing. It's just getting its act together, starting to take solid form. The journey peaks with carbon, the star of the show, the pinnacle of material form. But from there, the pendulum swings back. Elements like radium are way over on the radiative downswing. They're unstable, they're actively falling apart, releasing their energy back into the cosmos.
Okay, this is all really fascinating cosmic stuff, but so what? What does any of this have to do with us? Well, this is where Russell's philosophy comes crashing down to earth. He argues that understanding this cosmic blueprint isn't just some neat intellectual exercise. It holds the key to unlocking a whole new level of human potential. So what is this new power? Russell calls it the ability to think in light. And that's really the ultimate goal of his entire teaching, for us to move beyond our limited physical senses and begin to understand the universal language of creation itself.
And the promise of this way of thinking is, well, it's immense. Russell makes this incredibly bold claim. He says that once humanity truly gets these principles, we can replicate anything nature does. Discoveries wouldn't be accidents or trial and error anymore. They would be the result of direct, creative knowledge.
He really believed this understanding would kick off a new cosmic age. In this age, we could transmute elements at will, the old alchemist dream of turning lead or carbon into gold. We could create limitless, clean energy just by tapping into this cosmic rhythm. And maybe most important of all, humanity would finally evolve from a God-fearing species scared of the unknown to a God-loving one, living in conscious harmony with a universe that he believed is based on love and balanced exchange. It's a beautiful phrase, isn't it? Think in light. But it's also pretty abstract. What did Russell actually mean by that? How is a person supposed to do that? He saw it as a shift in the very frequency of our own thoughts. See, most of us spend our lives in the low speed of objective thinking. That's the world we see and touch with our 5 senses, a world of separation in objects. Thinking in light, he said, is the ability to shift gears, to access the high speed of our inner intuitive mind. It's a state of inspiration, of ecstasy, where that illusion of separation just disappears and we connect directly with the universal mind. And so, that leaves us with the massive, provocative question at the very heart of Walter Russell's entire life's work. Is the solid, dependable reality that we experience every single day, is it nothing more than a temporary illusion? A beautiful, complicated pattern created by the thinking motion of a single, universal substance? That is the message for tomorrow that Walter Russell left for all of us to think about.